Right, folks, we're back again. We're going to carry on our flight from Auckland Airport down to Napier on this sort of average day here in New Zealand, our classic spring winds that we get around this time of year. So we're going to fly, as you can see on my Shift C stats, it's quite a windy day throughout the places that we visited. So we will get into this aircraft and we'll load it up and we'll carry on down to Napier. So we will add in our zero fuel weight and our fuel that we're going to need. So basically 27 is our fuel. And our estimated takeoff weight is going to be 18.4, so it's going to be a bit of a heavyish plane today. Right, that looks about right. We'll get rid of that and we will go through once again our setup for our flight. So our heading's all set from our, yeah, it is set from our previous flight. Oops, I have turned on the window wipers, and now this is the most annoying thing about this aircraft. So there's no park, so you have to try and flick this. That's as good as I'm going to get it, so I'll leave it like that. Right, we'll set our aircraft up for our flight. So 14.8 is Auckland's VOR. And the outbound is 133. To Hamilton, which is 14. We'll get that set up in our but yeah, hopefully they can implement a second DME just to make life a bit more easier. 88 is going to be our outbound. So our radio, we've got 14 set up for Hamilton, that's Auckland. We'll set this up, I'll just get a little bit confused, set this up for Auckland. And it's 16 degrees outside, so our takeoff trim is going to be 25 this time. And remind me, we'll need to turn on our fuel pumps. And we'll start our flight to Napier. And Napier this time we'll do another one of those arc arrivals, DME VOR arc arrivals. So I'll set this to 25. Can hear that wind rustling, can't you? She's a windy day there. Nice day in Brisbane though. Beautiful 30 degrees sunshine. Right, let's get this going. Close up the doors. And we are all ready to turn on the engines. Right, we're just going to start the engines now. Select open on this mixture here. Very quiet in the cockpit. But that's all good. This is a lovely freeware aircraft, so definitely lots of potential here to make it a little bit better, but apart from that, this is really cool, man. This is a really cool freeware aircraft. But definitely really excited for when someone like Just Flight does their magic and makes it to their standard. This will be a really cool aircraft to have in Flight Simulator with the full like cabin and the various different variants that they made. Right, we are ready to pop down to Napier. Let's go, folks. Select our flaps. Why isn't this moving? Maybe because it's a bit heavier than last time. And in real life, these will be the Great Barrier Airlines caravans, and these two aircraft would definitely not be there. Naughty aircraft, they're in the wrong spot. You Airbus, you need to be back over there where you belong, buddy. Alright, let's go to our map and see where we're going. The only thing we are going to change is where that ATR is just there, that's where that's the taxiway that we use to get onto the runway for these aircraft during the daytime hours. Nighttime it's a different story, but daylight we use taxiway A3A, I believe it's called. I'm just setting my trims for my takeoff. And we're just going to take off. I'm just going to turn my landing lights. And one thing I did do, I forgot to select my takeoff trims, which is why the engines sound a bit quieter than normal. But we can fix that quickly now. I do find the when you push the G button for the keyboard, sometimes it doesn't do it on the first push, which is one of those little annoying bugs now and again that you get. Alright, we'll start out. We've just sort of been rushing this a bit, hence why we've made a few mistakes, but that's alright. Alright, we'll start our, because we rushed the takeoff, it's going to mess up the FS HUD. Well, not so much we didn't rush the takeoff, we just took that, the normal taxiway aircraft use to take off from Auckland. And flaps 2 can now come up. Oh, flaps can now come up totally. And what we will do is we'll do this where we can. We'll just put these into the open position, sync the props, and get ready for our little outbound that we're going to fly out on, our outbound radio. Right, we'll see if we do that annoying pitch down when we turn on our autopilot. We'll climb a bit more because I think it's above 6,000 feet. It doesn't do that pitch down. We'll give that a go. Alright, let's try it. I'm going to try something else actually, maybe because I've got that. It is very annoying when that does that. I turn off the indicator and just turn these all off just to reset it. Yeah, so we're going to try that again, folks. Oh. What's happening? Oh, for some reason the flaps came down. Right, let's try that again, eh? Right, let's turn on the autopilot. Let's turn on the flight directors. We'll turn on the autopilot and then we'll activate this. Yeah, so that's the trick, is to not have that on as pre-selected. That's what causes that pitch down, I think. Anyway, let's head on to Hamilton, or as the locals call it, H-Town. And we will set the radios up for Hamilton now, because we've already got Hamilton locked in our sights. And we will set this one up to Hamilton, and we'll pre-select this to Rotorua, which is 12.1. And we'll pre-select the heading as, I already got that there. And this, I don't think it's really well modeled, but you can come down here and select the pressure. Right, we'll set our thing to standard. And we can turn off our landing lights. And we can release the crew. And we can take our, I'm not too sure they do this while they're climbing, but we can do it anyway. Decrease our fuel trims. As we're flying over the mighty Waikato River, our longest river in New Zealand. We'll just ease back the throttles a bit for our climb, which we should have done before, but we got just a wee bit sidetracked with the takeoff. And we're now flying over, coming up towards Hamilton, the city here in New Zealand. It is a nice city. It's got a bit of a reputation as being a bit of a boring city, but it is surrounded by farmland, but it does have a good nightlife though. Lots of, it's got a big university there, so it's a student town, and it's got quite a cool array of pubs and bars and clubs, which is around this area here. That's the main part of Hamilton. And the Hamilton Gardens, which is a really nice gardens that everyone must visit. And we'll now go into heading mode, and we will get ourselves ready for our outbound. flying over Hamilton Airport. There must be a conflict there because it's got pink textures there. Oh, and we will level on out right there. And we'll start our turn now. We're flying over the VOR, so we can start our turn heading outbound. And we can now, I think Rotorua is coming up onto our DME, so we can now switch over to Rotorua frequency. And outbound from Rotorua is 141. Get that pre-selected. And then we'll just have a little workout what our approach is going to be. So we'll enter in Napier's VOR, which is 13.8. Just enjoy the nice view outside as we're flying over the Waikato region. That's another really nice place to go if you like conservation and wildlife. That's Mount Maungatautari. It's got a predator-proof fence spanning the whole mountain there, and it's got a really nice array of different wildlife and birds that are very rare, basically extinct elsewhere. So it's a nice place to go if you're visiting Hamilton, or even Rotorua too. It's not far from Rotorua as well. Right, our approach for runway 34 is going to be, we will select this DME VOR arc, whatever you like to call it. And we will set up our, just get everything all ready for when we get this, so we're ahead of the ball game this time. So our MDA is going to be, well, this one is radio altimeter, so we use this, or basically it's 500 feet, so that's all ready to go. And we're about to fly over where we just came from, Rotorua. And once we get past Rotorua, actually we'll do it now, just slow it down, and we'll just change our arrival. So it's changed it to runway 16, so we will find the relative, or just change this up. Right, we'll choose runway Z. That looks like the best one. Right, we'll change that to change our arrival settings to VRDMEY vectors, and we're going to use the 275 for our vectors for our DME arc. So we will select that instead, as we're flying over Rotorua where we were just before. Right, we will go back into heading mode, select 147, and our right, we'll start heading towards our outbound now. We're about to fly over the VOR just as we spoke there. We flew right over Rotorua's VOR, and we will change our change this to 400 feet. And I think we will start we'll set our radios. Right, I'll go back to the fast mode. We'll enter in, oh, that's already in there. So once that, oh, we now got, well, Napier's DMEs. So we can now change these to the Napier's VOR. And we will set this, we'll actually, I'll go back into heading mode, and we'll select our outbound out. So 275, we want to be pointing in towards that, so that's 275 there. And we will start our descent. I'm just a bit all over the place, but just a so our arrival, we're going to be flying this arc, so we'll be, this is a nice, quite a sort of like, I guess, a complex one. So we've got 3,700, then 3,500, and then this last one I believe would be 2,700. So this one is going to be nice, lots going on, so that'll be perfect. And potentially it might be a nice rainy day out over there, so I'll really put our VOR flying to the skills. test our skills out. Right, we'll turn on our cabin lights because we'll be probably experiencing a bit of turbulence. Like I was saying before, I don't really worry about this too much. Just for a bit of realism, I'll set the pressure, but as you can see, there's lots going on, and there will be another person there that will be looking after all of that. So what we will do, we'll set up this side here for these outbound radios, so we can have them all pre-selected. So this one's going to be 315, so so we'll select that. I was going to have a look and see where I am, but I'm going to not cheat this time and just try and go off my radar. What we will do is we'll just we'll just lock these out. Get ourselves all set up. So we're ahead of the ball game, not behind. Right, and we'll now track inbound to this heading. And we'll start being a bit more aggressive with the descent rate. So we want to be at 3,700 by 10 nautical miles from the aerodrome, from that DME. Yes, it's going to be a nice rainy day here in Napier to do this approach. Actually, we'll just see where we're at. Yeah, that looks perfect. Right, we'll just help ourselves out by selecting the VOR. And we'll just get our landing lights and our taxi lights on. We'll turn this on because it might be raining there. Everything else is looking pretty good. And we get this set up for our 90-degree turn that we're going to do when we get within 10 nautical miles. And we'll turn this on. And we'll increase our fuel trims. Get everything all nice set up for our landing. And when we get within 11 nautical miles, we'll start our 90-degree turn to the left. And we should be thereabouts with the altitude too, 3,700 feet. Right, look at that rain. That's what we want. A nice rainy approach into do a nice IFR flight. Oh, we better level on out. And we can now start our 90-degree turn to the left. And then we'll set this one up to 135 as our next fix. When we get to when we hit that, we will descend down to 3,500. Perfect. And then we just start our little turns to keep that pointing to the 90 degrees of the aircraft. So we can keep within that 10 nautical mile DME arc. And once we get past that, we will start our descent to 3,500. And then we'll set this to our next fix, which is 345. Which is about there. Level out at that altitude there. Oh, we've broken through the cloud here. As you can see, there's a reason why we have these altitude fixes. And then we'll set this to 353. And then, yeah, we're going to start our descent to 2,700. And then we can start our base turn onto 184. Get some nice screenshot views for the thumbnail there. As you saw, I'm just load my landing gear and my flaps. Set up VPAF of 105. And what is it? 7.8 nautical miles. We'll start our 3-degree descent, which is going to be roughly around about the same again, 630, 740. And we'll do that by hand because I find using that is a bit too difficult. So 7.8, which is about now, we'll start our just disconnect our autopilot, cancel that. And because I wasn't really paying attention, I was descending anyway, so I'm just going to increase my altitude for a bit. So 5.3 nautical miles, I want to be at about 1,500 feet, was it? 19. And this is an offset arrival, so our runway, as you might know, our runway is what is our runway? It's 16, so it's offset. So once we establish our runway, visual on our runway, we can then proceed to line up with the runway. And it's just visual approach the weather conditions here. We've got a nice clear spot onto the runway. So we're going to start lining up for the runway now. Start making a turn so we can line up for it. Hopefully we can beat that front that's coming through. We're going to just make it before that cloud comes over. And touchdown. I don't think Napier has turning bays at the end of the runway, so we're just going to do a little U-turn here. Flaps and landing lights can come off, and we'll just do a sharp turn right here. And we're very lucky with the weather there. It's just like literally just closed on in. Alright, we'll turn off the pitos. Can turn off the water injection. And we'll start our taxi back to the parking bays. I love that growl that these turboprops do. And we'll turn off our taxi light. And that will conclude our flight, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for coming along with the little nostalgia NAC Fokker flight through New Zealand, and to make use of this stormy weather so we can do some nice IFR flying. But as a whole, apart from here, most of the weather's been pretty good around the country. So yeah, here we are. We'll just find our taxi our gate here. Because it's a southerly, we'll point our aircraft into the south, into the wind. And we'll just go outside because we don't have any marshals marshalling us onto the gate, so we will take this one here. And we'll just park it right there. Perfect. Another front's come through, another little rain band's come through, so perfect for the that's right. Remember folks to turn on the select the ground power first to stop any potential bugs with turning on the engine. And I can now shut down the aircraft. And that will be the last flight for today, so we'll just turn off everything. And we will open up the doors. Yeah, you can hear that rain coming in now. Thanks for coming along with us, ladies and gentlemen, and hope you enjoyed that. The little trip down memory lane and explore a bit of New Zealand. Well, we didn't really do much really. We just went to Rotorua and to Napier, but we'll definitely do some more flights in the very near future with the around New Zealand with the Fokker friendship. So thanks heaps for coming along, and we'll see you again in the next video. See you later.